got no home, I'm just a roaming round.
Rise and Fall of the Ellensburgh Hobo.
From town to town.
As a resident of Ellensburg, Washington, I was fascinated to learn that, according to the authoritative Oxford English Dictionary, the first occurrence in print of the word hobo was in the Ellensburg Capital newspaper in November of 1889, back when Ellensburg had an H. This was brought to my attention by my daughter Maida in the late 1990s. While a student at Macalester College in St. Paul, Minnesota, Maida took an etymology class, and one assignment required her to research the origins of bum, tramp, hobo, etc. Over the next few years, anytime I helped someone with the OED or heard someone use the word hobo, I made a point of telling them of Ellensburg's claim to etymological fame. The article begins, "The tramp has changed his name, or rather had it changed for him, and now he is a hobo." In 2004, the Ellensburg Daily Record ran an article about it and included this reproduction of the entry from the 1989 print second edition of the OED. Earlier, in 1933, the original dictionary was published in 12 volumes, and the work was formally given the title Oxford English Dictionary. I found it interesting that the 1933 OED had no mention of Ellensburg's hobo, meaning that sometime between 1933 and 1989, someone had noticed hobo in an 1889 newspaper. It's fascinating to think about that whole process of tracking down earlier occurrences of words. In 2017, while gathering information about the persecution of Chinese in the Pacific Northwest, I encountered a reference to an 1893 newspaper article about a group of hobos attacking Chinese near North Yakima. That got me thinking again about the late 19th century use of that word hobo. With the relatively new advantage of mass digitization of newspapers and advances in search tools, I decided to search hobo in the Library of Congress's Chronicling America digital newspaper repository. For various reasons, typography, scanning quality, character recognition, etc., my searches resulted in lots of inaccurate hits. Here's the word nobody on a line break. Hoboken, New Jersey, with an older spelling. Horses, the English writer Hobbes, a different Mr. Hobbes, the Globe Tavern, M. Holloway, boarding, Senator Holmes, globes, bohea tea, James Hogg, ladies' cotton hose, and a dialogue in a congested voice, "I hope your Royal Highness." Eventually, I encountered hobos earlier than Ellensburg's. These hobos were in St. Paul, Minnesota, about 5 months earlier, and there was one in Butte, Montana in January of that year. I thought the OED folks should be informed, and the way to inform them is with an online form. In June 2018, I submitted the online form, which has fields for entering details and a way to upload evidence, but the form doesn't really give any kind of acknowledgement that the submission went through. The online OED is updated quarterly into its third edition. I checked the next quarterly release, but it was still the Ellensburgh Hobo. But also in the meantime, I'd searched a little more using the Chronicling America search tool and found an even earlier mention of hobo in 1885, 4 years before the Ellensburgh Hobo. So in October of 2018, I submitted a new form and mentioned my earlier submission. I continued to check the quarterly updates, but my hobo was in limbo. In April 2019, I emailed Oxford University Press customer support to inquire if my submissions had been received. I received a reply that I should use the online submission form, that OED could not respond personally to each submission, and that if I used the form, I should rest assured that they will have received the submission. Fair enough, they have a huge task. In fall 2019, while communicating with an Oxford University Press sales representative regarding updating some of my library's Oxford electronic resources, I politely asked if she had any inside means of communicating with the dictionary team. In March of this year, I received an email from Oxford Languages team assuring me that my submission had been received and will be processed by their lexicographers when they get to the section that has the hobo entry. It's a painstaking, rigorous, and laborious process, but I'll be patient, knowing that my contribution is in the pipeline. There's a 2019 film about Professor James Murray, who in 1879 began compiling the dictionary, and W.C. Minor, a doctor who submitted over 10,000 entries while he was undergoing treatment at Broadmoor Criminal Lunatic Asylum. On the trail of the hobo, I am happy to be playing both roles. Discovering the earlier occurrence of hobo was a bittersweet accomplishment, because I do feel some remorse giving the Ellensburgh hobo the bum's rush, sending him down the road to historical insignificance.